like a lot of people, you are comforted by that warm cup of coffee on a cool day. And this is a way that you could justify the relatively high cost of a cup of coffee at a place like a Starbucks or even a Dunkin' Donuts for that matter, and others. It's all about what you value in the cup of coffee or anything else for that matter. And I think there are some positive things that you could use to justify the cost of that cup of coffee if you look at it this way. So I put together a curated list of things that I looked up that I think are in combination something that you could use to justify that cost of that cup of coffee. And let's start up by the fact that a cup of coffee can warm you up. So, a coffee helps you warm you up from the instant you drink it. Obviously, if you get it hot, it's going to be an instant warm up. I do like that aspect of it, even though I'm not a big coffee drinker. I do understand and appreciate the fact that you can get a quick warm up right away, even just by holding it. Next is that you can get a boost of energy. Now, this one here is interesting because I myself personally do not seek out the boost that you get from the caffeine per se, but I do understand that a lot of people do want or need that perceived energy boost that you get from the caffeine. And it does give you some real mental clarity as well from that caffeine. Next is the comforting ritual that consuming a cup of coffee can be. Not necessarily for the caffeine itself, because that's more of a stimulant, but I do think that for a lot of people, just the act of having that familiar warm cup of coffee in your hands and slowly consuming it can be a very relaxing ritual that you could do in the middle of your day, certainly better in the morning. But really, it depends how sensitive you are to the caffeine and how much you're actually drinking. Then I think that could be a nice, relaxing thing that you could add to your day. And it's something that it is worth something. If it relaxes you, puts you in a good mood, and you're drinking it in moderation, a comforting, relaxing cup of coffee, I think, is a good thing, especially to help justify the cost. I alluded to this one before, but caffeine in the coffee can help to kind of enhance focus and mental clarity. That's a combination of mostly from the caffeine, but also there could be a placebo effect associated with the fact that you are relaxing, clearing your mind while you're having that cup of coffee, and that could add to the overall sensation of mental clarity. Related to this is the aromatherapy. I think this is something that should not be overlooked. That rich aroma of the coffee, especially for me as a non coffee drinker, I can relate to that, even though I'm not going to be able to get the same kind of sophisticated reaction that some coffee drinkers would. I myself also do appreciate that nice coffee fragrance that can be soothing and invigorating. And I think it's part of what makes the overall enjoyment of a cup of coffee, and also it helps it to justify the cost of that cup of coffee because it gives you that sense of pleasure. Next is the social connection. This is something that I definitely can relate to. The majority of the time that I do drink coffee is when it's an occasion where I'm meeting friends and they drink coffee, and I'll usually join them for a cup of coffee. So that social connection that is enjoying a cup of coffee can be a great way to connect with friends or family. Another way that the price of coffee can be justified is the mood enhancing properties that the combination of the caffeine and the ritual of having that cup of coffee has on a lot of people. It does for me as well. I do get that a little bit. So I appreciate the fact that the mood enhancing properties making somebody feel better because they have that cup of coffee, that can be worth the couple of bucks that the coffee actually costs. And let's not forget the other health benefits of coffee, which is the antioxidant content. Now, coffee is a rich source of antioxidants. I found out that coffee does have some amount of antioxidants, which can be good and healthy for you, especially if you consume coffee in moderation. So that's a plus. So that's one way, another way that you could justify the cost of that coffee. Also, a metabolism boost effect can be experienced with coffee. So, that might be a way that you could maybe kickstart your weight loss journey, your metabolism, and maybe hopefully make some progress on that front. And if that can help you with that, then certainly it's worth a couple of bucks that the coffee costs. From a safety standpoint, increased alertness that a cup of coffee gives you is great, especially if you're driving and you're a little bit tired, or you're just starting your day on a chilly morning. That increased alertness that you get from that extra mental clarity, that can be a benefit for you. And depending in some situations, it could be crucial to have that little bit extra state of mind, state of alertness that could be extremely helpful. So that's another way coffee could be, the cost of coffee could be justified. And then there's the culinary delight. Now, for me personally, I don't appreciate this that much because I'm not a big coffee drinker, but pairing coffee with pastries is a common thing that a lot of people enjoy. So if it brings joy to somebody and makes the food taste better, then I'm all for that as well. Now, this next one I did want to include because I think coffee is underrated as a form of hydration, and that is because a lot of people associate coffee with caffeine, and caffeine is a substance that is known to dehydrate people. However, coffee is made with water, so that can be a source of hydration when you drink a cup of coffee made with water. However, this is not the same with caffeine in powdered or pill form, which is a very concentrated source made with little to no water, and that is not what I'm talking about. So, a cup of coffee made with water can be a good source of hydration, especially if you don't drink a lot of water to begin with. Next, and I think this is kind of like a subtle yet positive effect, drinking a cup of coffee can give you a sense of normalcy to your day. A sense of normalcy is important because if you're used to drinking coffee, the day that you don't drink it, because that ritual is now absent from your daily routine, it could throw you off a little bit. So, having a cup of coffee, if you are consistent with it, and as long as you drink it in moderation, that could be a way to maintain a sense of normalcy, which could be a positive thing for a lot of people. Of course, there are a host of other benefits that are too long to include, but I'll touch on them. Coffee can also be a source of portable warmth. Just even by holding a cup of coffee in your hands on a cold day, that can help to warm you up. I've done that as well. Also, coffee is known to be an immune booster. So there is some evidence to show that coffee can stimulate your immune system in various ways. So if that's even partially true, that's a good thing. And then coffee is actually an economical treat, even though I said that we're looking to justify the cost. At the end of the day, you could spend a lot of money on other things. And if you truly appreciate the aspects of coffee, then the economical cost of the coffee is certainly going to be justified. So, yeah, I think it's important to recognize that having a cup of coffee can be something that is justifiable in terms of the cost, especially if you appreciate a lot of the things that I spoke about in this video. I certainly can relate to a few of them, especially just warming myself up on a cool day or a cold day by just holding it itself and getting that portable warmth of the cup of coffee itself. And then, of course, taking a few sips on a nice cold day will definitely warm you up from the inside out. So, with that said, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.